I'm Lindsay.
I did it. Oh my god.
And as someone who spent 7 years living in a 175 square foot micro studio, I'm no stranger to small spaces. But van life takes it to a whole new level. So follow me as I build out my van with the hopes of eventually achieving my goal of visiting every national park here in the United States. Guys, I'm so scared right now. I'm so scared. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single phone call, and that is going to be a problem. It wasn't until recently that I decided to get serious about buying a van. I had been considering it for quite a while, but I never made the leap into truly figuring out the actual logistics behind it. Until now. So I have a vehicle in mind that I'm looking at on Craigslist, and I wanted to see if see what the quote might be for adding that to my policy. I'm just gonna level with you, I'm an idiot, so I don't know quite what's going on. Well then, thank you, that's really all I need to know, I guess. You've been really helpful. I've thought about it all day. The guy's number's punched into my phone. What do I do now? I did get a text back, but it literally just says no text. So, hi there. I just texted you. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize it said no text in the listing. So, I'm glad I called. But he said to call back on Tuesday afternoon to see if it's still an option. I'm so scared right now. On like Friday afternoon, is that alright with you guys? Well, that sounds great. Thank you very much. Have a good one. Fuck. I don't know what I'm doing. So Friday has come and gone. I did not see the Ford Econoline, and there are a couple of reasons for that. So first of all, my uncle is a mechanic, so I wanted to get his input on everything. He saw that vehicle and was like, I wouldn't do it if I were you. So definitely want to listen to that advice. One of the big issues was that it's a diesel engine, not totally ideal for what I want, and there's just different aspects of maintenance and upkeep and stuff like that might complicate it a little bit more. Secondly, the price being asked for the Ford van was just did not match up. It was like from 2007, it was not in great condition, and they were just asking way too much for it for what it was. So I was like, you know what, like, that's definitely not worth it in addition to the whole engine thing. So, you know, I decided to even pass on going to see it or even following up with the seller. But there's also a third reason as to why I am not buying that van. Because I think I might have found a better one. After another round of consulting from everyone I could possibly think to ask, I found the courage once more to text a random phone number in hopes of acquiring a van. So that was kind of fast, but it looks promising. The van is still available. So, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe I'll go see it tomorrow or on Monday. This fucking guy. I texted him on Saturday to make plans about seeing it today, Monday. He fucking sold it out from under me in one day, on Sunday. Like, that van's not a possibility anymore. I am definitely more, like, settled on the model, like, Chevy Express makes sense, whatnot. So here I am, just still looking. Already, there were more ups and downs to buying a van than I had expected. But after 2 prospective vehicles had passed me by, I felt more motivated than ever once the time came to try again. And in hindsight, this might have been my undoing. I'm so hyped up right now, like... Okay, I think I found one. Like, it's better than I've imagined. I want to make a move on it like right now. Okay, so like I found this post on Facebook and it's like the Chevy Express, it's from 2015 and it's in Everett. It was listed literally 13 hours ago. Like, I'm hyperventilating. I'm hyperventilating. Before you think I'm an overexcited idiot, I am. However, I decided to take a little bit of a closer look. I'm confused at the listing because it says it's a Chevy Express 1500 from 2015. But Chevy stopped making the 1500 model in 2014. That was the last year they ever made it. So what the fuck is this? It's still like a nice looking van. It looks very clean. If it's available, I'll still go see it, but like now I have these questions like, okay, so like what model is it really? Is it from 2014 or is it maybe actually a 2500 model? Is it rear-wheel drive? Even though I have no fucking idea what I'm doing. I just Googled things hard enough and figured it out in a really roundabout sort of way. So, we'll see what they say. I like how I probably just look more and more unhinged in all of these updates, but I figured out what the issue was in terms of like the model and the year not existing. I'm pretty sure the person put a typo in their listing. It's a 2005. They changed the title after I messaged them. It's a 2005. So, definitely still looks really good though. I think maybe I'll ask after it, so I don't know. I'll give it a shot, I guess. Okay, so I'm looking slightly less unhinged now, and I think I'm gonna go see this thing. Scary. So I'm really hopped up, so I like immediately drove home, but I did it. I bought a fucking van. Holy sh**. Alright, so after like 2 weeks of struggling with RMV related bullshit, I am insured, I have my temporary license plate, and I'm ready to go pick up my van. So I'm gonna make my way to my dad's house. He's gonna drive me up to the dealership, and I'm gonna struggle to drive home in this very large vehicle that I'm not used to. So I'm very happy to report that the inaugural drive home was a success. I nearly collided with a speeding woman when I was driving out of the parking lot, but other than that, I actually feel I feel a bit more comfortable now driving something this large. I've definitely adjusted just over the course of driving home. So it's here in one piece, and that's all that matters. So my main priority right now is actually getting the van inspected. So where I live, you have to have your vehicle inspected once a year to ensure that it is safe to drive. They put a little sticker on your windshield and your license plate. And I was actually gonna have the dealership, they were supposed to take care of that for me, but because I'm an extremely lucky person, like the entire inspection system for the entire state was hacked. It's finally back online, but unfortunately it's not even ready to go get inspected because the headlight's out. So here is everything that's wrong with my van. So first of all, the passenger side headlight is out. I'm not totally sure why. Hopefully that is the simplest problem here. And I'm feeling kind of ambitious, and I think I might even try to fix it myself. But don't hold me to that, please. So my biggest concern is definitely the steering wheel. It is on crooked, I noticed as I was driving it home, and it doesn't seem to affect the actual steering abilities, like it doesn't drift to one side or the other, but even when I am driving straight, the wheel is notably skewed towards the left. So hopefully that's not a bigger safety issue, a bigger alignment issue, but it is something that I definitely can't look into and fix myself. So I'm gonna try and get that looked at and taken care of before I go to get it inspected. So this next issue won't actually affect the inspection or the safety or anything like that, but this rear door, the lock mechanism inside it is pretty damn unstable. And that's something that I would like to get fixed as soon as I can as well. And hopefully it's something I can do myself and just secure that actual mechanism into the door somehow, because otherwise it is totally functional. So, you know. And finally, it's just dirty. There's just still trash in here from ghosts of contractors past, I assume, and just some general filth just chilling in here. So at the very least I can take care of that and, you know, figure out if my car is actually a death trap that doesn't have a proper steering wheel alignment, but that's for another time. Today I'm really hoping to actually take care of the important stuff that I can't drive around without, so my headlight and my license plate mainly. So I'm about to get in the zone, the auto zone, and see if I can take care of that stuff today. The AutoZone excursion was a success. I have my headlight right here. I picked up a license plate frame, and I also grabbed a seat cover. I only bought one for now. I'll try it out, see if it fits, and if it does, I will grab another because both of those front seats are kind of torn up and gross, so they need it. So it turns out my headlights are actually very easy to change out, which is awesome. They're literally just like a plug like you'd find in a wall outlet. So now I'm just gonna change it out and hope to God that it is not actually an issue with the internal wire leading back to the battery. This shit has got me busting out the specialty screwdrivers already. Ooh, it's a fit. But I don't know if this flimsy thing is strong enough to get through these rusty old, screw, bolt, whatever the hell. So you probably can't see it very well in there, but the screws in there are really rusted out. So nothing's ever easy. Hi. Hi, Merlin. Meow. Oh, son of a bitch.
So, the new bulb, this is what I mean. It's literally just like a plug that you plug in here. Okay, I think that's good. I'm gonna toss it back in here. I'm not even gonna go through the whole thing of screwing it in yet because I just want to make sure it works. Definitely the moment of truth. Yeah! I did it. Oh my god, yes. It's working. It's so beautiful. I did it. Oh, yes. So beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna secure it into place, and then I'm gonna take a break for the day. So yesterday while I was working on the headlight, I did discover the unthinkable, which is that the steering wheel alignment does in fact pull slightly to the left when I'm driving and I just let go of the wheel. I didn't really notice before because I wasn't, I was driving this thing from A to B. I wasn't really in a position to be just letting my hands off the wheel. And, I am embracing for whatever potential cost this could be. But I'm gonna call the garage right now, see if they can possibly take a look at it today. And I'm just really hoping that nothing is too insanely wrong with this bitch. Alright, I'm about to go drop the van off at the garage. And it's like, I want to say like 2 miles away from my house, so I'm actually going to just run back home. I just got stuck. I don't know why, I don't know if something's wrong with my transmission. I don't know, I think maybe when I go up hills, I'm having issues. I honestly don't know. Bro, please don't let this thing be super fucked. Fuck. Okay, I just had a nice long chat with the guy at the auto place. He's gonna check out the steering, make sure nothing else is wrong with it. I mentioned earlier that there were more ups and downs to buying a van than I could have expected. But this was probably the biggest surprise of them all. Okay, I just got a call from the mechanic. He wants me to come down there and talk. He's like, there's some shit wrong with this. Okay, I have got a notebook and some pens to write down everything that is wrong with the van so that I am prepared to possibly drive back up to Peabody today and politely but firmly and according to Massachusetts law, tear this dealership a new asshole. Fuck. I'm stress eating gummy bears. This is a list of what's wrong with my van. I did call them. I was only slightly a bitch. They said that the boss is gonna call me back at 3 or 4. And I said, okay, well if I don't hear from him, I'm gonna call you guys again at 4. Can I speak to the manager mode activated, I guess. But that's also what you get for selling me a car that is barely safe enough to drive. So, fuck you guys. Fix my car. Because it is technically mine and I do own it now. And if the lemon law applies and they just refund me, then I am back to square one.
And I don't know how to feel about that. So I just got done with a bunch of very not fun phone calls. The first of which was from the dealership. The owner called me back, and he was just being a little bitch on the phone. Kept saying that mechanically there's nothing wrong with it, it's still drivable, it's totally fine. Plenty of people would want this van, you know, you could find someone who would buy it tomorrow for $7,000. All that bullshit turning into the stereotype of a used car salesman real quick. I couldn't even get a word in edgewise because he just wouldn't shut the fuck up. But eventually I cut him off and was like, all right, what do we want to do? How do we move forward from here? So he, you know, said that once I get the title in the mail, because I haven't gotten it yet, he'll look at it and see if it is worth fixing, in his words. Spoiler alert to him, like the answer is no. Otherwise, he said he would like buy back the vehicle. After that phone call ended, which ended with him hanging up on me, by the way, everything I did from that point on, I basically just did with the lemon law in mind. So the lemon law in Massachusetts and plenty of other states and places basically is where you buy a used car and within a certain amount of time after purchasing it, there's like a major mechanical issue. There's like different like criteria and thresholds for like what the issue is, how much it would cost, etc., etc. But essentially here in Massachusetts, you're supposed to give the dealership like 3 chances to fix the issues with the vehicle. And if they don't do that, they have to give you your money back. From that point, I started doing things so that legally I would have the upper hand if it really came to that. And that was basically thanks to the advice of my dad. I called him and was freaking out, and he told me to send an email to the dealership, you know, recapping like, hey, we had just, you know, this is what we just spoke about on the phone call. Here's everything wrong with the van. Actually, I still have the email. So, you know, I said, you know, hi, as we discussed on the phone earlier, these are the following issues. And then I also, in that same email, pointed out, I actually emailed them 2 weeks prior to say, hey, the passenger side headlight's out, you know, the steering wheel is misaligned, like, you know, when can I come to fix that? And just never got a fucking response. And then I just ended it by saying, you know, the majority of these issues were not disclosed to me upon buying the vehicle, therefore I'm seeking a full refund. I basically only ever used the phrase full refund, because technically, like, if I go there and, you know, he does, like, buy it back, take the title from me, I don't want him, like, offering me less money than I actually bought it from him for, because he's technically buying it. So I just always said full refund. That was like the only phrasing I ever used. After I sent that email, my dad advised me to print out that one and the one I had sent prior, go to the post office and send it via like certified mail with a return receipt requested, because somebody has to sign for that at the dealership, which means that not only are the issues and the disputes, like not only is that in writing in the form of emails, but they can't say they never got the emails because physically it was handed to them at the dealership and a human being had to sign and say, yes, we received this. And like legally that's like a thing, I guess. So yeah, I don't really know what's gonna happen. I don't know what to expect. I don't know if he will, you know, attempt to say, yeah, that's fixable, or try to, you know, give me only part of my money back or something like that. But if he tries anything like that, you know, I have those records in place and like those documents that legally make it more in my favor if it ends up being a legal thing, which goddamn, I do not want that. And I think for like dealerships don't want that either. So I think for the most part, hopefully it helps in terms of them not wanting any trouble and just kind of going ahead and doing what's right, because otherwise it's going to be a pain in the ass for them and me. Yeah, now I just wait. Now I just wait for the title to get here and
try not to look at the van that's sitting outside my window right now. I kind of hate looking at it. I hate that it's there. And yeah, I just feel a little depressed about it. So, yeah. For the next few days, I cried about it like 4 separate times. I did literally nothing because I lost all motivation. And when the title finally came in the mail, I knew what I had to do. So it's sort of a rainy, depressing day. Appropriate weather for the returning of the van to the dealership. And I'm just hoping this goes smoothly. I think that's really all I can hope for at this point. This thing is so fucked up that like shifting it into drive, like drive does not engage half the time correctly. Like it means like I get literally stuck in the middle of the road pressing the gas and it's just revving and not going anywhere. So I called AAA, put on the old emergency flashers, and I'm sitting in this parking lot. There it goes. So minus the whole tow truck incident, it actually went pretty well, I guess. I figured that getting a full refund was the best possible outcome, and that is what I got. So I'm very glad for that. Essentially, I went in there after the tow truck arrived. He, came in and was like, what's wrong with it? It drives just fine, blah, blah, blah. And that's kind of just when I started going through the laundry list of issues. First of all, the biggest issue for me was the fact that the transmission had been rebuilt. The mechanic I saw couldn't actually find anything wrong with the transmission necessarily, but there's definitely something wrong. And the drive shaft wasn't engaging, so that's crazy. Literally would get stuck in the middle of the road. That's crazy. I mentioned that the calipers on the 2 front brakes were frozen, which means that I was constantly driving with the brakes slightly applied at all times. And, various leaks, some oil leaks between the engine and the transmission, a leak with the power steering pump, and also the steering itself was misaligned. But I did change the headlight, so you're welcome for that. After mentioning all the various crazy issues with it that would most certainly not pass inspection, he agreed to quote-unquote buy back the vehicle for the full amount that I paid, so essentially just refunding me. His assistant coworker started writing up the check, and he's doing all this talking, trying to convince us how he's, a good guy and he doesn't need to scam people like this, and, he bought this vehicle at an auction and it was a fleet of vehicles and, all the others were totally fine. This is the only one that has a problem like this, and all this other bullshit, man, I don't know. So, he attempts to briefly sell me on another vehicle in the lot. I humor him for 2 minutes and then we go back inside. They hand me the check and I leave in my dad's car because I no longer had a vehicle to get myself home. Well, it was a hell of a day, but at least I got my money back, all of it. And now I can start over and refocus on finding something that actually drives and actually works. Because I'd been thinking about this for so long, I really wanted to show the full process of everything. It seemed like all the van build videos on YouTube already started out with the van in their driveway ready to go, or even with the van already totally built out. But showing the full process means admitting that I was an idiot. it means losing multiple weeks of what I thought was progress, and it means making all these mistakes on camera and watching the footage back like a horror movie where you want to yell, like, don't go in there at the screen, but it's also you, and you're going in there. But at the end of the day, I'm honestly lucky to even have the privilege to make these mistakes. I only finally started looking at vans this year because I knew that I could comfortably afford it. And not only that, but when I made a stupid mistake, I knew how to legally protect myself thanks to the advice of my dad. So, am I devastated that I fucked up and I'm back to square one after weeks of work? Yes, very much. But does my life, shelter, and well-being depend upon it? No. So I try to keep that in perspective. But I definitely don't want to go through that whole mess a second time. So I'm making sure to approach my next potential van buying scenario Horatio Caine style, because I won't get fooled again. So this is my new approach to buying a van. First of all, I have very specific parameters. So I figure I want a fairly recent vehicle. I don't want to go any older than a decade. So the oldest I will go is a 2010 van. I feel like anything older than that, you're just kind of, you're a ticking time bomb for more expensive wear and tear repairs or major, maintenance kind of things like that. So I'd rather, be able to have some longevity to it. I also want to get something with less than 150,000 miles on it. Since I'm going to be driving this around longer distances, I want to make sure that it'll at least, it still has some life left in it. Also, I just want to, in terms of getting a newer, nicer one, I don't want it to be completely totaled if something happens. I'm going to be putting a lot of work into this van. I want it to work for quite a while after it's done. You know what I'm saying? With those new parameters comes a new budget, because a newer vehicle is just going to cost more money. So before, the absolute most I wanted to spend on the vehicle itself was $6,000. And now I have raised that to $10,000, which just seems insane. But that is about what a vehicle around that year and that mileage should cost, at least for a Chevy Express. As for going to the dealership itself and actually buying something, I have a whole new set of rules around that. I don't want to go anywhere any further than 25 miles away from my home. Because, just going to pick it up and having to need somebody else to drive you there, and it's so far away, and, that caused a lot of delays prior, and also, God forbid if something is wrong with it and I need to go back and kick their asses, they're close by, so I can conveniently do that. Not only that, but when I get there, I am taking my sweet time looking at it, using all the lights, all the headlights, all the hazards, all the flashers. I'm going to be, shifting it into every single gear. I will make a 27-point turn if I have to, just to make sure the transmission works okay. I'm definitely more comfortable driving a van like that now, so that's also kind of a big benefit, because I can focus on not, being nervous and crashing or whatever, and maneuvering this vehicle that I'm not used to, and I can focus on the actual mechanics, how it drives, and paying attention to the possible faults with it. Lastly, I guess, if it actually looks good to me, and if it seems like it might be a possibility, I will take it to the mechanic down at Forest Hills Auto and have him tell me if it's a good idea or not. So, yeah, if they don't let me do that, then I'll probably leave. I want to be very adamant about it. You know, I'm Horatio Kane, bitch. I won't get fooled again. I know that before I was just being an overexcited idiot and I didn't know what I didn't know. And as discouraging as it all was, after a short break, a bigger budget, and growing cynicism, I found the will to keep looking. I've kind of had my eye on this van for about a week now. And I think I might go see it. It is from 2013. It's just under 150,000 miles. It's only had one owner. And it looks to be in pretty good condition. So I'm gonna call them, see if it's available. I can always just walk away, but I guess I'll see how it goes. Yeah, I was calling about the Chevrolet Express you have listed on the website there, the 2013. If it's still available, and if maybe I could come today and test drive it and check it out. Okay, I'm going in. So far, so good. They have really just let me have free reign. They gave me the keys and were like, all right, just take a look, and then when you're ready, let the mechanic know, like, you're ready to get in for the test drive so you can go grab the temporary plate. So I'm about to go drive this baby. I can't totally tell what kind of shape it's in. I'll have to drive it first. Obviously, I checked all the normal stuff, the door locks, just being a dick about that, because that ticks me off from last time, so I'm gonna get ready to hopefully take a drive in this newer one and enjoy it a lot more. So, I ended up putting a deposit down on that van, only like $100, so just they don't sell it in the meantime. But, first impressions are, I like it. I have quite literally slept on it, and I think I'm gonna get this van looked at by a mechanic. The dealership only has one temporary plate, so I can't like take the van with the plate and drive it over and all that. They need to hold on to that, so I'm gonna look into doing this service that like sends a mechanic to the dealership. They check it out for you, they send you a report, they send you photos, all of that stuff. So hopefully they can go ahead and do that on Monday, and if everything checks out and it comes back to be in really good mechanical condition, then I have some stuff to think about. I'm unnecessarily nervous about this, but I got an email telling me that the auto inspection report is ready. This 2013 Chevrolet Express is in good running and driving condition with a few flaws to note. Minor little scratches, minor miscellaneous dings and dents. Underside is minor surface rust, and the hood has previously been replaced. In order to pop the hood, it required 2 people. That's weird because I popped the hood myself when I went to go see it, like no problem. But the lever was like weirdly stuck, like I had to force it a little. It says, the seller stated he will fix this issue. The tires are dry rotted and need to be replaced. The seller stated that the tires have been ordered. Most of the wheels show some corrosion. See below for more information on the tires and wheels. Already, I think this inspection thing totally like paid for itself. I would never have known about like dry rot in the tires and all of that stuff. I will get back to you when I have any thoughts. Just a thought. No thoughts, head empty. Wow, is this journey ending just like it started? Wearing running gear and making a phone call? I think it might. So the deal is, it needs new tires. It needs 4 new tires. The hood, like the latch itself, needs to be fixed. He told the mechanic he would fix the hood latch. He told him that he had already ordered new tires and that they'll put those on. In order to make sure that they're not just gonna put like cheap used tires on this thing, I'm gonna give them a call. I'll tell them I'm still interested, and you know, let them know that I would like a receipt for the tires that they purchased for the vehicle, and I want to make sure that the hood will be fixed. So with all of those stipulations, it maybe looks like I might possibly buy this van. I'm gonna go for a run, obviously, but I think when I get back, I'm gonna give them a call and see where it goes from there.
So I just finished running a little over 5 miles, which just so happened to give me enough time to get nervous about doing this all again. So I'm just gonna give them a call now and see what's up. I called yesterday. My name is Lindsay Daly. I'm calling about the Chevy Express. I had a hold on it. And then also apparently you'd ordered new tires because all 4 of them are dry rotted. So I would just like to know if you are able to provide me like a receipt or just some form of what the tires you actually purchased are. All right, great. I will let you know if that isn't going to be the case, but otherwise expect me then. Awesome, thanks. Have a good one. Bye. Did I just buy a fucking van, bro?
To answer your question, bro, yeah, you did. After weeks of issues, setbacks, and one hell of a false start, I'm so excited to finally show you my new van, a 2013 Chevy Express.
Buying a van was something that I'd wanted to do for a while, but I always figured now was never the right time and that I would just do it eventually. But eventually isn't a day in the calendar, and it got to the point where I was thinking about it so much that I finally just had to ask myself, if not now, when? So I took that first step, and yeah, it was more complicated and difficult and frustrating than I ever could have imagined. But if there's one thing I understand now about buying a used van, it's that it takes humility, diligence, attention to detail, and a lot of uncomfortable phone calls. Despite all of the setbacks and the problems, I'm so happy that I took that first step and that I didn't just wait around for eventually to happen, because today I finally get to answer that question of, if not now, when? And the answer is now.